There's a lot of speculation around Monad, a lot of attention, and that's not because of the price momentum. We can barely see Monad on this chart here. It's rather because of the technical development and the adoption. In this video, we're going to look at the on-chain data. In this video, we're trying to figure out where Monad might be going from here. We're currently at 3.7 cents. And again, the price pretty much did nothing so far. Yet, it is the most viewed cryptocurrency on CoinGecko with a market cap of only 400 million. Now that tells us something. If there's a lot of attention and the market cap is still relatively low, this could signal potential upside, right? Maybe Monad can go to 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. Let's dive a bit deeper. Now, I don't think that people are getting excited around the tokenomics because unfortunately, Monad is also inflationary. It's currently at 50 billion tokens and that will more than double in the next years. As the first major unlock in 12 months, November 2026. Now, why do we have this massive unlock? It's because the Monad team took some funding, right? There were several funding rounds. There was a quite large funding round by institutional investors for 225 million, but there was also an open IEO sale made through Coinbase. Monad is selling the dream of very quick Ethereum virtual machine transactions. It tries to compete with Solana. It tries to have a processing speed of 10,000 transactions per second. And again, it's EVM compatible, Ethereum virtual machine compatible. So all the code that's currently running on Ethereum or on the base layer or on Polygon or any of the other layer 2s, they will be able to be deployed on Monad as well. Monad is not a layer 2, it's a layer 1. It's a dedicated blockchain, but again, it runs on the EVM chain. It achieves that high transaction throughput through parallel processing. Virtual Bacon made a dedicated video on that topic. Feel free to check it out. Now, with the mainnet launch, we did see transactions come up quite a bit. Unfortunately, the momentum is falling in the last 2 days. The number of active accounts is also falling, not as quickly as the number of transactions. Here's the transactions per second, which is just a derivative of the daily transaction count, right? It's just another denominator. But this number is still noteworthy, right? We are at 34 transactions per second. Bitcoin has only 7 transactions per second as per maximum. So that's what we saw the first 2 days. A lot of token creations that has also now come down. So it was the initial wave of adoption. It was the early movers that just started building liquidity pools, that started building mirror tokens, that initial wave has now stopped. We have to get the retail investor now on board to get the Monad price higher as well. The TVL is still increasing, so the capital that's on the chain is going up. And what I like about this is that it's comparatively high relative to Monad's market cap. Right, this is 150 million of TVL. There's even 221 million of stable coins on the chain already. And again, that relates to a market cap of only 400 million. That's a pretty low valuation. So the speculation is that the retail investor will come in and start trading on Monad. Will this happen though? So far, I've got my doubts because the problem is that the liquidity pools that have been created, they're not against stablecoins, they're not against wrapped Ethereum, they're mainly against the Monad token. So most of the tokens that are traded on that chain now are just derivatives of Monad. And this cannot go on forever. It did not work for the Degen blockchain, for example, right? Everything was just a derivative of Degen. All the liquidity pools were against the Degen token, and then the Degen chain died. Let me show you what I mean. So here is the Monad chain. Have a look at the most liquid tokens. Yes, Monad itself is traded versus USDC, but all of those other tokens, they are traded against wrapped Monad. And that's not good. We want to see trading versus USDC or versus Ethereum. We don't just want to get derivatives from Monad. If you're getting value out of this content so far, then feel free to give this a like. You can also subscribe because I publish videos regularly. Of course, any support is very much appreciated. It will help the channel grow. In the last 24 hours, the trading volume was acceptable, right? 82 million isn't that bad for a newly launched chain. But the Degen chain worked exactly the same, as in there was a lot of excitement at the beginning that then died down. Now Degen is so small that it's not even listed on DEX screener anymore. It's not anymore here on this overview. That's how little trading there is. And so because the number of transactions, the number of active accounts, the number of token creations, that's all going down in the last 2 days, we also see Monad now falling versus other altcoins. We really need to see that retail adoption. This is a Monad chart relative to the others market cap, relative to other altcoins. and we have seen already a decline of 24%. There's a ported version of the token on the Solana chain as well that has got close to 10,000 holders. And here again, we do see quite a bit of activity in the first 2 days after launch that then stopped. Interestingly enough though, the whale investors, they are still buying, which is a positive sign, right? So what we see on the left, that's a number of wallets with 250,000 tokens. That's $1,000 worth of the token. It's $10,000 in the middle. It's $100,000 on the right. So really, the heavyweights, they are still buying, while retail is rather cautious. I like that development because whales tend to make better calls than the retail investor. That's why they are whales in the first place, right? They made some money in crypto before. Here's the token split up. Who owns how much of the supply? The whales currently have roughly 45% of the supply. And there's a good chance that this will actually go up, which will also then support the price development. Let's have a look at the short-term trading activity. So we've got the spot trading volume, 101 million worth of spot trading on Coinbase, but we've got more trading on the bets on the price, on the perpetual futures, more than 400 million on Binance. It's a really short-term, the price development always comes from the perpetual futures market, from the levered bets. That's where the quick money moves. Interestingly enough though, the perp market seems to not be that heated yet, as in the financing rate, the funding rate is quite stable for Monad. We do see increased open interest, but it's still at 180 million. That's not really that much. The trading volume on the perps has risen. We can ignore the latest data point because today isn't yet over. So yes, I do believe there is potential for Monad to do another 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5x. The market cap is simply very, very low. That being said, the token is inflationary. Holding it over the next 5 years is probably a bad idea. We might see some momentum building up. The whales and the market makers are buying up the token. But really what we have to see is how retail attention does not just move into purchases of the Monad token, but how it actually translates into usage of the chain. And for that, ideally, we also get more capital pools that are versus Ethereum and versus USDC, not just versus the Monad token. That's a big problem with trading on Monad right now. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish this regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. Feel free to also check out the premium membership. This is where I share my own trades. This is how I share not just how I trade within crypto, but also across any asset classes within traditional finance as well. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Cheers.